Hello, everybody, and good morning. My name is Angelina, your spiritual alignment coach, and this is the morning show with Angelina and Sarah. However, Sarah is going to be just a smidge late. So while we wait for Sarah, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what I do in the mornings to kind of get ready for the day. So, I currently am on a no coffee kick. So I am just finishing brewing my tea. So I'll show you that in a second. But first, part of my morning ritual has always been to make myself a cup of coffee. But since I'm not drinking coffee, I had to make something different. So I made some tea. So tea is what I am choosing as my alternative. But see, I'm super old school. I don't have a teapot. I have a pot. Which I think is kind of more fun. People have tried to give me teapots in the past. I'm just kind of a rebel. I like to do things the way that I do them, so I don't know. This is the type of tea that I made, so you guys can see. It's still caffeine. Again, I don't sell anything on this channel, but it's called Blue People by Vital Leaf. Oh, there we go. And it's a type of tea I got in Seattle at Pike's Place Market. But I don't actually like going to Seattle, so I buy it online now. So, because I'm kind of lazy. So you guys know, in Washington State, Seattle is like super far from everything, and it's a mess. It's really hard to get to. So I don't go up there very often, and when I do go, I really strategically try to go early in the day so I don't have to hit traffic or anything like that. So, okay. I'm going to show you guys kind of my little creation space. This is where I do a lot of jewelry. You'll kind of see that. This is where I make a lot of headbands. I do sell things. I just don't sell things on this channel. So I want to tell people that because there is some confusion. I do sell crystals. I just don't sell crystals on the channel. I do paid readings. I just don't do them on the channel. So like everything that I do here is meant to be like a complimentary service for all of you. But if you want those things, let me know. It's just I don't like to advertise them here because I want you guys to feel like this is a safe place for you to come and just be and relax. So I'm going to show you. It's a little bit messy. I'm just going to caveat that and tell you it's a messy space. It's messy because I am an organized, messy person. I know where every single thing is on this little platform. It drives my husband crazy because it just looks like clutter. But it is not. I'm just like trying to make it look nice. It's not cluttered. It's just my organized mess. So it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna set the phone down. It's gonna be a weird angle. It's fine. I just want to show you guys what. Actually, I'm gonna hold the phone. How about that? Let me switch the camera so I can show you what I do. There we go. Okay, great. So this is my morning candle. I just made myself a new one. As you can see, it has not been lit yet. So my morning candle is made for intentions. It's in the kitchen by the sink because I had a little burn accident here not that long ago. So I keep it very close to the sink in case something happens. But as you can see, I have another plate here for smaller candles. So I'll show you that in just a second for more specific intentions. But this white candle is just for my intentions of the day. This is me calling on my guides, my higher self, even my ego self, depending on what I have going on. And I put that right here. So these are pictures, like my favorite pictures of me and my husband and me and honey. So this is where that kind of starts. As you can probably see, I also have a crystal grid right over here. That is my main crystal grid, or our main crystal grid for the house. It's very close to the intention candle. So when people talk a lot about altars or sacred space, this is kind of what they're talking about. They're talking about the space where you do your work, where you do your spiritual work, your meditation work. In this house, we have many different spots. And if you guys are ever interested, I can do a live just showing you the different sacred spaces in the house, or if you have questions and you want to see them in this video, I can show you. But this one is specifically for like my morning intention. So I have my matches here. I prefer to use matches because it just feels more natural, I guess, in terms of like when I'm doing my spiritual work. So I'll turn this back around for just a second. Okay. So I'll show you kind of my more specific intention candles. They're way smaller. I have them just out in my organized chaos because I use them often. And these are colored candles. I tell people, like, look, for these intention candles, you can literally use birthday candles, and that's perfectly fine. They don't have to be these fancy schmancy, go to the store, you know, $2.50 per candle. You can just go to the dollar store or Safeway or Fred Meyer or whatever convenience store, grocery store you go to, and you can buy birthday candles and you can do the same thing. And they work just as wonderfully. There's no, like, size doesn't matter. The colors don't matter. Like, it's all about what you have for your intention. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. But before I do, if you're here and you're watching and you're in a safe place, make sure you pop in and say hi. I love these to be interactive. I love to be able to answer any questions you guys have. And since we're talking about setting some sacred space, I do have a video way back where I talk about sacred space. If this is interesting to you, go pop back eventually, not right now if you don't want to, but eventually go back and watch that video. And I'm going to set some sacred space with you guys here while we're waiting for Sarah, because what else are we going to do first thing in the morning other than set some sacred space? So I'm going to set this camera down. It's going to be a weird angle and you guys are going to see me. It's okay. I promise everything is fine. But I'm just going to show you how I do these candles for a second. So I have this plate. This plate is here for my candles. And as I've mentioned, I've already had one burn incident on this counter trying to be slick and not use my plate. So okay. So I have my match and I have my candle. So I just use my match to kind of make the bottom a little bit hotter, I guess. So I melt the wax on the bottom so it sticks to the plate. And I do that with any candle that I use because I don't want a candle to fall and then burn down my house. So that's just my little safety tip for all of you, from me to you, is I burn the bottoms of the candle so that the candle sticks to the plate, so that if I walk away from this table or from this counter, and there's no worry that these candles are going to fall. They are very solid on the plate, and I always check them because these are kind of like cheapy candles. Like I said, I do this on a budget. I light like 4 candles. Let's see, 5 candles. I light about 5 candles a day. That's a lot of candles. So I'm doing this work a lot, so I don't buy super expensive candles, which some people say, like, you should be buying natural candles, Angelina. That's great, but I got bills to pay, so I do this on a budget. So what I do is I go on Amazon and I buy like 100 colored candles, and about once a month or every other month or so, I buy new candles. So I'm just going to take a drink of water really quick. I just woke up. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do this out loud. It's kind of weird for me to do it out loud because I almost never do my intentions out loud, but we're going to do it out loud anyway. So I'm going to have to put this down because I have to light another match. And as you can see, this box of matches is temperamental and fickle. So let me see if I can turn this so you guys can kind of see the candles. Okay, so I've got my main candle here, and I've got my candle plate of 3 right here, which I'm going to actually redo this one because my candles are too close together. So hold on, everybody. There we go. Okay. So see, I'm just lighting the bottom of the candle and I'm sticking it back on the plate. And I'm just waiting. I'm going to wait a second to light those. Okay. So the way that I do this main candle is I set the intention. I call on my higher selves, my guides, my angels, any and all energy that is in love and my highest good, to come and assist me on my path today to ensure that I am operating in the highest good. My match went out. To ensure that I'm operating in the highest good for myself, for my clients, for all those I come into contact with, that my positive energy and healing will radiate and will amplify with each person that it touches. So that's my intention setting for the day. That's what I do every single day. So for anybody my energy touches, that means anybody watching these lives, that means anybody that I talk to, anybody I walk by, anybody that I talk to on the phone, right? Anybody whose house I look at because we're house hunting. So as I mentioned, okay, my match is going to go out again. These matches are cool. They go out on their own. Okay, so like I mentioned, for these smaller candles, these are more specific intentions. So today I picked a white candle, a black candle, and a purple candle. So purple candles, this particular purple candle is for the third eye chakra. And today, Sarah and I are going to be talking a lot about perception, programming, dreams, trauma, reality, all kinds of really, really cool stuff. So I picked this third eye candle with the intention that we'll be able to speak and think about these things clearly with good intent. And I don't know what Astrid's getting into, but I'm going to have to check that in a second. So I like to always pick the black candle and the white candle for illumination. So we're asking for our reality and perception to be illuminated through the third eye. So that's how I pick my candles. So I don't know if you can see, this is a white candle, black candle, and third eye candle. So I like to always light my more specific intention candles from my main candle, because this is my main source. This is where my higher self, my guides, etc. are starting from. So I always light my second match from that candle. Now I'm asking for illumination, so I start with the black candle. So for anything that is hidden in the unconscious or hidden in fear or hidden in any sort of negative emotion, to be illuminated with love. So I go to the white candle. Oh, my match went out again. These are really old matches. I've had these matches for like 10 years. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. So they're not great. Okay, so for anything that is hidden or like revoked from my awareness, to be brought into awareness, into clarity, that I can see all situations with the lens of truth, kindness, hope, and healing, so that I can encourage not just myself, but everyone I come into contact with to be operating in a space of love, of clarity, and healing. So that's just how I do my intentions. So as you can see, now I have 4 candles going. This space in my kitchen gets very hot. And I'll tell you guys kind of a funny story. So because this is a specific altar space in my house, amongst many, I always tell people to be really careful around this space. And what are you doing? So there's Astrid under the table doing something sketchy. You're doing something. I don't know what you're doing, but you got to stop because Mama's got to talk. Yeah. So I always tell people to be really careful around that space. This one day my brother came over and he was at my house and he was getting ready to borrow my car and take me to work. And I told him to be really careful around that space because there's workings going on there. Astrid, stop. Stop it. So I told him to be careful, to watch what he was doing, and he was kidding around and putting his fingers in the flame, like just trying to be funny. And I was like, hey man, don't do that because I'm doing work right there. Right? Like I'm working with spirit and with energy and with my higher self and my guides, and they don't think it's funny. Like, you need to respect that space. And he's like, okay, fine. So he stops messing with it, and then he leans against the counter. So he's leaning against the counter like this, right by the candles. And I'm like, smell it. I'm like, I smell something burning. This is really weird, but I don't say anything. So I'm like, whatever. And we're talking and joking and laughing and whatever. And we're getting ready to leave. And I'm like, whoa, for real? Like, I'm smelling something burning. This is really strange. He turns around and his back is on fire. His coat, his whole back of his coat is on fire from where he was. And he wasn't leaning on the candles. He was just leaning near the counter where my candles were, and his coat lit on fire. And I was like, oh my gosh, take your coat off. Your coat's on fire. And he's like, what, really? I'm like, yes, really, your coat is on fire. Take your coat off. So he takes his coat off. He throws it on the ground. We get the fire out. His whole coat is ruined. The whole thing is done, right? But he wasn't hurt, so it's good. But I was like, man, don't mess with the altar space. They don't think it's funny. They don't think, because you were warned twice to quit messing with it. And you thought it was funny and you were you got to not mess around or you're going to find out. So I'm just watching Astrid. Are you going to lay down? Good girl. Oh, it's a good girl. Oh, thank you. Good girl, Astrid. Okay, so that is my intention setting for the day, so you guys can kind of see it and get a glimpse into what I do in the morning when I very first start doing any sort of work. The very first thing is I bring intention into the day. I set some blessings for not just myself, but anybody I come into contact with. I make myself some tea, and I watch my dogs try and mess up my whole house. And that's about it. So if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this in the replay, make sure you ask any questions that you might have about setting sacred space. If you set sacred space for your day, tell us about that. I'd love to learn how other people do things. This is just one way. This is one way and it's my way, right? That doesn't mean it's the only way, and it certainly doesn't mean it's the best way. It's just the way that I have done it for the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So while we are waiting for Sarah, I am going to go take all of you upstairs with me because I also want to do another, actually maybe I'll do my deck that's down here. Because I had a crazy dream last night that I want to talk to you guys about, but I can't talk to you about it until Sarah gets here, so we have to wait. But until then, make sure that you like this video, knowing that letting us know that you like this content, and share this video with anybody that you think might find it interesting. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to flip the camera here for just a second so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. There we go. It used to be so easy to flip the camera. So this is my bookshelf. I have a lot of decks, a lot of oracle decks and tarot decks and books. So that you guys know, I don't just come up with these ideas randomly, willy-nilly. I actually do study. I actually do go to school. I actually do my own research on everything and anything that we talk about. If I don't have the research when we talk about it, I do the research later. I really do read these books. I really do use these decks. I haven't used these decks in a while. The decks that I use mostly are upstairs because that's where I work, really. But since we're downstairs, I'm going to use one of the decks from down here that I don't use very often. And I'm just gonna, this is the one. This is the one. I had a crazy dream last night, which I'm not gonna tell you yet. I'm gonna wait for Sarah. She's gonna be here soon, at some point. What do you have? Give me that. Give me that. Gross. You have fun with that toy, Abby, because it's almost garbage. Sorry, everybody. Pause for a second while I throw garbage away. Yeah, it's just what it is. This is part of it, part of life, part of what it is to have 4 crazy, sweet, love animals. Where am I going to do this at? There's dogs everywhere. All right. So I'm going to pull a card from this Fairy Oracle deck, the Dragon Fae. I really love this deck. I don't know this deck as well as I should, as well as I could. But I'm going to pull a card from this deck. I'm going to read it to you guys. This is just kind of what to expect from the day. Keeping in mind, I'm showing you things that I do that I don't do this as often as I used to, but I used to pull a card every morning to kind of get the intention of the day. I already know what we're going to talk about today because I'm me. But for just the fun of it, I'm going to pull a card for all of you so that you can kind of see the process of what you could do if you wanted to start adding a spiritual practice to your morning. And this whole thing is really just about intention. So anytime you ask a question of the cards, you want to keep it open-ended. So you want to ask a who, what, when, where, how, why card or question. So I'm just asking what to expect from the energy of the day. Okay, so what can I expect from the energy of the day? Now, the other part of this is anytime you pull a deck out, you should always cleanse your deck. So I'm going to show you a very quick, easy way that I cleanse my decks anytime I'm about to use them, which is just with the breath. So I breathe on all 4 corners of the card, so with the intention of cleansing any stuck energy. This deck has been sitting in a box on my shelf for a couple of weeks, so there's definitely some stuck energy there. And a card fell out, so we're going to read this card anyway. Okay, Yay! Okay, cool. Sarah just texted me. It's my favorite thing to talk about ever, you guys. I'm so excited. So what is the thing that we need to keep in mind today is boundaries. Boundaries. I love talking about boundaries. Boundaries are my favorite thing ever. Not that I have them down perfectly, because today we're going to talk about some boundaries, but I love learning about boundaries. I love talking about boundaries. I love teaching people about boundaries. It's awesome. Okay, now, please don't judge my reading because I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to try to read this as best as I can. I'm going to read the divination or divinatory reading or meaning, because this is like a fairy deck, so that's a specific fairy to work with. But the meaning is correct security measures need to be in place. Insurance on property and valuables must be updated. Take care to love your pretties, but not be owned by them. Allow yourself peace of mind with your valuables. Thinking too much about your security. Take some practical steps in self-defense and energetic health and well-being. Guard your wisdom well. As the jewel's Orochi protects can also be that of your wisdom, experience, and talents. Do not give them away lightly. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean for today? It means to make sure that you are keeping track of what you say and what you do, making sure those things are in alignment, and making sure that there's a proper energy exchange. Okay, so I talk all about energy exchange all the time. If you're interested in learning more about what boundaries are and what I mean by energy exchange, let me know that in the comments if you're watching this live or watching this later, because this is a whole, it's a whole class, it's a whole thing that requires attention. It requires attention and intention. And it's a really big deal, especially right now with what we have going on energetically and what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, is making sure that everything that we do, everything that we have going on, we're in a good negotiatory state, right? So anything I do has to be good for me and for anybody else, right? Like, I can't make a boundary where I say, I get to punch you in the face every single day, and that's my boundary. That'll make me feel better, right? If you don't let me punch you every day in the face, then, you're harming me, right? I can't do that. That's absolutely unreasonable. That's a silly boundary. I can't make that happen, right? So whenever we talk about boundaries, it must be mutually beneficial for everybody. So that might be, whenever we meet and you ask me a question, please allow me at least 30 seconds to a minute to think about your question before asking another question. Well, that's fair. That's reasonable. That's something that we can definitely have in balance. And it's for our mutual benefit that you allow me that time. So that's kind of what that looks like. So as we go in today, some of the energies that we need to be keeping in mind are boundaries, balance, making sure that we have that mutual exchange. There's my tea. So I still haven't had any caffeine. I'm trying really hard to, actually, I shouldn't say that. I am working towards releasing caffeine as part of my morning ritual, but I still like to have my warm drinks. So this is my coffee. This definitely has caffeine, not as much as coffee. And this type of tea, you brew out a lot of the caffeine. So here we go. First sip of caffeine of the day. Awesome. Y'all, the look on Abby's face right now is like, Mom, you're talking to yourself and it's weird. Hi, Abby. I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to two people. Okay. So speaking of boundaries, I want to put this out there as sort of a boundary for this channel. So because Sarah and I have been on this channel for a while, we love all of you. We want all of you here. We want all of you to see our content and to give us feedback when it feels appropriate. Now, on the other side, we talk about a lot of things on these channels, right? We talk about ourselves. We talk about our lives, like our physical lives, not like a live on YouTube, right? We talk about ourselves, and we give ourselves a little piece of ourselves to all of you when we talk about ourselves. So I want to just kind of throw out there that it's inappropriate, right, to go too far with the information that you hear, right? You guys are our guests. We love you. You're our friends. We consider you as part of an awesome community of people. But if you're watching these lives and you're emailing us personally about our personal lives, sending pictures of our homes, talking about our children, their schools, anything like that, that's a huge boundary violation, right? So we definitely want you to be here. We definitely want you to be a part of the conversation and talk to us. But remembering that there's some boundaries there, there's some lines that we want to make sure we don't cross. It's never my goal to ban anybody from our channel, to um, block anybody or erase anybody's comments or do anything like that. And if those boundaries are crossed, then that's going to be the step that we take. And that's just for our own safety, right? Like, we're women. We're women. We have kids. We've got families. We've got stuff going on. So we want to make sure that we're keeping our families safe just as much as you guys are. So just making sure that our behavior doesn't go into anything inappropriate. And we can go further into that, but I don't really want to because I feel like you guys get it. But if I have to, I will. I don't need to. So let's talk today about sacred space. Let's talk today about our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations, the things that we have going on. Soon, in exactly 3 minutes, hopefully, Sarah will be here and I can finally tell you guys a super scary, crazy dream I had last night, because it was pretty, well, this morning, I guess, because it was pretty intense. I woke up thinking about it like, that's weird. That's weird. Where did that come from? So I'm wondering, and I haven't had a chance to investigate this yet, but I'm wondering if right now it's sort of a time where, well, yeah, so we're in Scorpio season, so it would definitely make sense. Our subconscious mind is coming to us through dreams, right? If we don't give our subconscious mind an opportunity to talk to us through meditation or through, taking normal breaks, or, right, setting sacred space for us to talk with our subconscious, getting that information, the subconscious mind has no other choice other than to communicate through our dreams. That's my hypothesis. That's according to me. That's what I think. Now, yesterday I did meditate. I did meditate and I did take some time to kind of wind down and think. Probably not as much time as I usually do, but I did take that time. But I did still have some weird, weird communication dreams, and I do often. So because we took a couple days before we did a new live. We did talk a couple days ago about some of the dreams we had or were having. But the last couple days I've had some pretty crazy dreams, and we're going to talk about those. And what they mean and why they matter and why this is important for you to know in just a little bit. Now, in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, any comments, any concerns, now's a great time to ask, because it's just me over here with my tea waiting for Sarah. It's like there's this old country song called Waiting on a Woman, and it's kind of a cute, sweet song, and the guy's like super in love with the woman he's with. I can't remember who sings it. If you know that song and you know who sang it, write that in the comments. It's called Waiting on a Woman. I know that, at least, because it's part of the chorus. But that's what I feel like waiting on a woman, no big deal. No, there's no rush there, I promise. If you're listening, I'm not rushing you. Or am I? I don't know. Oh my gosh, so weird, you guys. So I have an older sister. I have a lot of siblings. So I have an older sister. And the other day because I do music as well. So the other day I was with my bandmate, Gary, and we were trying to decide what songs to pick. And I was like, oh, we should do Rolling in the Deep by Adele. So we're like, okay, cool. So we're sitting there, we're practicing it, and I'm listening to myself, and we recorded it. So I'm watching myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like my sister. I look and sound like my sister. We can't do it. I feel like I'm not even in this video. It's not even me. It's her. It's weird. Not that I don't love my sister. I do. She's amazing. Like, she's an amazing, accomplished person, right? Like she's fantastic. She's beautiful. She sings wonderfully. She's awesome. But I'm not her. So I was like, oh no. Okay, we can't do this song. So we ended up vetoing Rolling in the Deep. So if anybody requests that song, it's not on the table. I'm sorry. I took that one off. I couldn't do it. I couldn't look at myself. I couldn't even see myself. It was just weird. So as a side note, if anybody does have music requests, I am going to be making a channel soon. I just haven't done it yet because that's going to require a little bit more of an oomph for me to actually make that channel. It is going to happen. It's happening. Actually, the channel itself is already made. So I should be careful how I say this. The channel is made. I just need to post some of the music. And I haven't done it yet because I'm a chicken. And I will admit to being a chicken. I'll get there. They're posted on Facebook. I just have to also post them on YouTube. It's like we're so new. Like we've just started this whole thing. So I'm wondering if no, it all looks good. Okay. So that is going to exist. That is going to be up soon. It's going to be called Open Mic with Angelina. It's just not up yet. So it'll be there eventually. Astrid is losing her mind. What? Do you need help? Come here. She's so cute. It's like, what can you even do? Oh, you're barking at Olaf. He's sleeping. Astrid, leave him alone. She wants to play, and nobody else wants to play. Wow, I think that I'm like good on this caffeine. I think I might make a new, I think I might just make a decaf because I think I'm good on the caffeine. It's like already in my head. It's like it like breaks through my blood-brain barrier. Kind of crazy. Okay, so here in just a second, I'm going to show you guys, because we're waiting for Sarah. So I'm going to show you guys my candles here in just a second so you can kind of see what your candles look like when they're doing work. Because my candles are very obvious. Like I say, this is something I do daily. This is part of my routine. So I know what my candles look like when they're like bringing in what I need. And I know what they look like when they're like, this was a dumb intention, Angelina, make a new one. So I'll show you that in just a second after I dump this tea out. Yay! Okay, Sarah. I'm going to make a new pot of tea because I don't know. This is why I stopped drinking caffeine, why I wanted to move away from coffee, because I felt like caffeine wasn't agreeing with me anymore. That's okay, Sarah. You're fine. Don't worry. Don't stress. I'm keeping things going over here. Talking about sacred space. It's all good. And I'm going to make, so you guys, this is kind of cool for you. You can see what it's like to be in the life of Angelina for just a second, because I am so old school on so many things. I have a water dispenser, but I don't use it for pouring my tea water because it takes too long. So I just like pour it right into my pot. And sometimes, oh, yep, like this time, I get water all over the floor, which is fine because I have a towel right here because I do this so often. I have a floor towel for how often I spill water all over my floor. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, here it is. Here's my floor towel. Although I spilled way more water. Ooh. So, yes. So I'm not perfect. See, I spill water all over the floor. I know. I'm so weird. So yeah, this is kind of how I operate in the universe, is if something stops agreeing with me, then I know that it's time to move away from it. So caffeine has been my friend for a long time, but I also have an autoimmune disease, and so it's also disagreed with me for a long time. But I just still drink coffee because I love coffee so much. It's like, well, I can only have so many things that are bad for me, right? Like, I don't eat meat anymore. I don't eat cheese as often anymore. I don't eat ice cream. I don't eat sugar because it makes me sick. So I'm like, what can I have? I'm not cutting out coffee. I refuse. Well, guess I'm cutting out coffee because I don't want to die and I don't want to be sick anymore. So I guess that's that. Okay, getting ready to show you. I want the dandelion root. Getting ready to show you my candle, so you can kind of see. This is what these candles look like when they're working. It's also really hot over here. It gets really warm. So let's see. Camera. Oops, that wasn't right. Camera settings. Camera. There we go. Okay. So if you can see how big this flame is, that's a working flame. And if you can see how big these ones are, these are working flames. They're very still. All of these flames are very still. Well, they're moving because I'm near them. But they're pretty still in consideration. But that's a working flame. So what I mean by working, there we go. What I mean by working is that it is doing what I requested, right? It is providing positive energy. It's amplifying energy. I haven't tried mud water because it's really expensive, Sarah. And I'm cheap. I don't want to spend money on mud water. It's like $40 for like a 2-week supply, and that just feels ridiculous to me. So what I mean by working is that it is doing what I asked. I asked for some very specific intentions today, and so those things are what's coming to the surface. So that's pretty cool. That's what I hope to see. Now, I know when things aren't working very well, or there's something in the way, or there's something selfish about my request or something like that. How do I know that? There's a few ways. So first of all, the candles don't light right, if that makes sense. So like when I go to light the candles, they don't light correctly. Or when I go to blow out the candles, because eventually I've got to blow this candle out. I got to go do some stuff. Oh, yeah, he's Sarah. There we go. So eventually I have to go do some stuff. So eventually I have to blow these candles out. But when I go to try to blow them out, they don't want to blow out. So I know.
Let me see that one, that working flame again, because I missed it.
What's that?
Let me see the working flame again, because I missed it, because I was trying to get
Okay.
to put my clothes on.
All right, hold on. I will show you. There.
Oh my God, that's cool as fuck. Oh, excuse my language. Dang, I'm sorry. I just got super
But you see
excited.
how there's 2 different colors here?
Yeah.
So you see there's the yellow and then there's the orange flame.
Yeah.
That's the working flame.
Tell me more about this though. Is this a certain type of candle?
Nope. This is just a regular old
How'd you get the flame to do
candle.
that, bro?
I didn't do it. I'm not doing anything. That's just
Stop it. Let me see it again. Let me see it again.
Where are you? Turn your camera on. Nobody
Hold
can
on.
see you.
I don't have a shirt on.
Girl,
Yeah.
get it together.
I'm trying to find the scrubs. My scrubs. Oh my God. That is just. Hold on a second. Let me look at this real good. Hold up. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's my working flame. So that's my daily flame.
What do you do? Do you do like some kind of intention thing with it?
Yeah. So you missed kind of the first half. So
My bad.
No, it's okay. Just go back and watch it. But
I'll
give you a brief thingamajig. So basically, I set some intention with each candle. So I have like my main candle, which is the big white one.
Yeah.
And that's my daily intentions. So I have certain daily intentions for like healing and amplifying healing. I just have to make sure my dogs aren't doing anything crazy.
Feel that, because they probably
okay.
are. They're thinking about it. They are thinking about it.
Drop it. Drop it. Let me just see it. I'll give it right back.
I gotta put deodorant
Like a
on.
tiny little piece. All right, you can keep playing it. Anyway, yeah, so the working candle is the intention candle. So I have a main candle for like daily intention, and then I have the smaller candles for like more specific intentions. So like I have a general intention of the day, and then I have specific intentions for the day.
Well, let me tell you, that flame is so
That's crazy.
insane that
Yeah.
something is going on because that's different.
Yeah.
That flame
You
is different.
you have to go back and watch and listen to the story associated with this because you'll love it.
Is it in
You'll think it's
another
funny.
video?
Huh?
Do you have the story in another video or is it on this one? Because
It's
I
on
missed
this
the
one.
first little part of it. Like, I
Yeah,
didn't get it.
it's on this one.
That's cool. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is so cool.
So,
I hate
so
it because it's 10:41. I'm sorry.
that's
It's
okay.
10, and I've got to be up there at the school here in just a little bit, but
Okay.
it's like
Well,
10:55.
let's talk about programming really quick then, since you're
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
because you wanted to talk about programming, and programming is so a part of the theme of this week, you guys. It's the hugest energy update that I could really give you, and I'll make a more specific pinpointed video a little bit later today. But essentially what we mean by theme of the week is like, this is the thing that every single person, me, you, Sarah, all of us, every single person is
Oh,
dealing with this
everyone.
problem. So we're
Yes.
going to talk about what that problem is in just a second. Before we talk about that problem, make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. Hit that little bell so you get notified when we go live. Also, go to FM Perspective, which is Sarah's channel.
Please.
Sarah's like, you're so funny. Go to Sarah's channel.
Yes.
Like her channel, subscribe, because she's got some awesome videos too. We also go live on her channel. We're also totally watching you put on deodorant right now, which I just think is hilarious.
I'm sorry, y'all. We all do this.
This
It's
is
not
what
pretty.
happens when I rope Sarah into doing things just like spontaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
This is
She's
how it's
always
going to
good
be
for it.
sometimes. So get used to it, peeps.
Yeah, right.
It's
You
going to
know,
be
for
great.
every yin there is a yang.
Yes.
So, okay, perfect. I have to make new tea. Caffeine's just not agreeing with me anymore, dude.
I heard you talking about that. That sucks. I like caffeine a lot.
Oh well, whatever. It is what it is.
It is
Okay.
what it is.
So
But the mud water looks cool, but yeah, you're so right. It's expensive. That's why I haven't tried it yet either.
yeah, it's expensive, and I'm just like,
Nope.
I mean, I get it. It's good for you. That's cool, but
I wonder if it makes you feel good, like
I'm sure it
energized.
does. It's got like a ton of vitamins and minerals and good stuff, but I don't know if I got time for that. And I gotta wait like 2
I
weeks to
know.
get it. I'm
Yeah,
good.
you're right.
There's
You're
other
over it.
stuff
Like
out
it's,
there.
yeah, that's true. I'm
Okay,
drinking
so
coffee right now.
Sarah, tell us what the theme of the week is.
Oh, the childhood trauma and the programming and like it's not necessarily trauma, it's just like childhood experiences, period, and then how they shape the way we view the world and feel about things like that we experience as adults. I just think that's really interesting because a lot of people don't realize like how much stuff from their childhood, like the little tiny experiences, like and how it affected them when they were like maybe 4 years old, like development. I can't talk, but developmentally or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
at that age, they took it and they interpreted it a certain way through those lenses, and then now an adult, it carries over, and people don't even realize like they're working off of and they're reacting out of a place that was created by a child. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that we're talking about this because this is so the theme of the week. So what I mean by theme of the week, so this is what the theme is. So when we are developing in the womb and born and we start living our lives, our parents, our friends, our teachers, everybody starts influencing the way that we see the world. They start telling us what to be afraid of. They start telling us what to aspire to do and to be. And they shape and mold us into this person. Now, even if you're the type of person, like my husband, who's like, I didn't do anything that anybody ever told me. If somebody told me to do something, I would do the exact opposite. Okay. Well, that's still
My
shaping you,
son. Yeah.
right? Your son. Yeah. There are people like that exist. And even they were shaped by those people, right? Because if you're
Yes.
doing the exact opposite, that means that you were shaped away from certain things, right? And
Yes.
into other things. So,
I-
the theme of this week is we're taking in information, right? All the time, taking in information. And then we're interpreting that information before we respond or react, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well,
Well,
you will.
maybe subconsciously, right? Because it's just kind of
Right,
like an
exactly.
automatic thing.
Right. And so that's the respond. So respond is I'm reacting to what I've interpreted. Sorry. There's react and respond. React is I'm just reacting and I'm not thinking about it. So my subconscious is the one that's ruling my behavior.
Yeah.
And then there's respond. So when we respond, it's moving from the subconscious into the conscious. So we are thinking about it and then moving forward.
And just like a good example of doing that, I think would be like if somebody does something that makes you mad, it's kind of not just letting that blow out of your mouth or whatever. That sounded weird, but like being aware of the feeling you're having and kind of asking, okay, like why do I feel this way? Like just taking a pause to kind of evaluate why you're feeling the way you feel, right? Is
Yeah.
that what that
So
means?
so an even cooler example for me,
Yeah,
if you don't mind me using you as an example, Sarah,
go
because
for it.
it was you. It was you. So Sarah and I did a live, and unfortunately that live had to be taken down because we had some personal information on there that people
It
were
was
not
just
respecting. Yeah.
just totally got caught up in things and divulged maybe too much info just to be smart and safe, you
Yes,
know?
totally. Yeah. And that's totally
Sucks,
fine. So no,
but
no, no, it's totally fine. So in that live, this guy walks up to Sarah's house and he looks a certain type of way. He's got tattoos on his face and stuff like that. And he's
yes.
walking up to the wrong door, right? Because she has like a side door and a front door, but the side door looks like the front door.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, like, if you can tell us a little bit about like your first, so you took in information and you interpreted it. So tell us about
Yeah.
the information you took in and how you interpreted it.
Okay,
Interpreted
so
it.
what I see, I thought about this after the fact, even after we got off the phone. I kind of thought about it. I'm like,
Well, don't
why?
tell us what you thought about yet, because we're gonna get to that. Because we're doing the you took in information, you interpreted it, and then you responded, and then new information came to light that you had to interpret differently. But the
Yeah, at
initial
first I
information,
got aggravated. I was kind of aggravated and feeling like, okay, he looks weird. He looks like, because I've had somebody do that before. So I just
Mhm.
automatically thought the way he looked, he just looked suspicious. I felt like he
Yeah,
was suspicious and I kind of got aggravated.
yeah. So like you had something like that happen before. The person was weird. They did some weird stuff. And
Yep.
so it's likely that that was going to happen again. And so you interpret it from like that past experience.
Yes,
Back up.
I did. Totally.
And I'm only using you as an example because this was like
No, it's
2 days ago
perfect.
and it was on the live. Like if you
That was
guys didn't
perfect.
know, I do the same thing where I like take an information like I'm trying to think of a really good one recently. Okay, so I have to do all these VA appointments,
Yeah.
and I have to talk to all these different doctors and things like that. And if they're not like super excited to see me, I initially take that as like they don't care about me,
Yes, that's a good
right?
example because a lot of us do that. A lot of
Like
us
if
do that.
if you're not like, "Woo, I love this. You're so cool. You're so awesome." I immediately interpret it as you don't like me,
Yeah,
right?
and that
And
hurts.
that's
It hurts our
and
feelings.
yeah. And then I start interacting with that person on the defensive like you don't like me, so,
Yes.
whatever. So
I
like
do
we
that
start filling
too.
on that space.
Yeah.
So like so you guys know, it's not just Sarah. This is just a cool example that was on a
I
live that
think this
maybe
is,
some of you guys saw.
yes. No, it's cool, but so there was the way that we were reacting. We were just
Right.
going, we were letting our feelings and emotions take the reins. And it's kind of like, well, why do we feel that way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then so when we start asking those questions, we take ourselves out of react and into respond,
Yes.
right? Now, there's a caveat here, there's a trouble here, which is when we respond, if we're not in a space of awareness, what we actually do is rationalize. So there's a
Oh,
difference
that's
between
interesting.
rationalizing and actually responding, like truly responding. Yes,
Like
Astrid.
rationalizing how we've acted or how we feel,
Right.
rationalizing it.
Right. So like if you were to be like, well, that guy had tattoos on his face. Like, what do you expect when you have tattoos on your face and you act all sketchy,
Yes.
right? That would be
Yep.
rationalizing why it was okay for you to respond the way that you did in the first place or
Yeah.
react,
Defending
right?
yourself.
And people definitely do that. You didn't do that, right? You were like, wow,
I
I totally
I
get why
have
he,
before.
well, we all have, right?
I still do it. I try not to do that because then in the end, once I do think about it, I realize that's not who I want to be. I don't want to be somebody that just assumes someone is a bad person because of the way they look, or
Right.
and sometimes I say and do things I regret because I rationalize what I'm thinking or feeling. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
don't realize it until later, so I'm trying to avoid that anymore
right.
because it sucks.
Abby, Abby, get back. Back up. Back. There's a spot on the carpet that they keep trying to chew up.
Why? Does it have like, is it darker than the rest of it?
I don't know. They're just butt heads. That's
Dogs.
right. I called you a butthead, Abby. She looked at me like, Mom, but I'm a squish. But yeah, so exactly. So you're not perfect, Sarah. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you're not perfect.
I know it.
And you
None
know
of us
what? I'm
are
not perfect
really.
either, so it's okay.
There's no such thing as perfect, man.
Being
That's what's so
perfect would be
perfect, though.
boring.
It would be boring.
So so yeah, so we take in the information, we interpret it, we either react or respond. When we respond, we either rationalize or we actually respond, right? And I see this most with people, like if you establish a boundary or you say like, "Hey Sarah, you hurt my feelings cuz you hurt my feelings when you did this." Right? And not that you did this, but this is an example.
I know.
So if I were to say like, "Sarah, you hurt my feelings when you were late to the live." And then you
Yeah.
go, "Well, I had all these things I had to do and Sophia and Eli and you know whatever blah 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 blah." Now, all those things are probably true, right? But
Yeah.
none of those
Yeah.
things answer the hurt piece, if that existed.
Yeah. Because honestly, I was thinking about it because I was actually thinking about that too. Because I really don't. It's not that I think you don't understand or anything, but that's something I worry about. It's like I don't want to hurt her feelings or let her
Yeah.
down, you know? And
Yeah.
I just told Paris, I was like, man, I should have just told her that we should have went live at like
Right.
um 11:30 my time, cuz or something like that, cuz by that time, or like 12, cuz I would have already been back home. See,
Right.
after eating with the kids. And I didn't think about that at the time earlier.
It's all
I
good,
was
dude.
just being
I'm falling over.
super spontaneous.
Sorry. Covering a big piece of carpet and I'm falling over. No, you know I don't take those things personally. You know I don't.
I know, but I don't, I just, that's just what goes on in my head. That's
Yeah,
it. You know,
totally.
I do think about it because I care, but I
It's
am going to
all
have to get
good.
off of here. I freaking hate
Okay.
it.
So, before you go, what
Yeah.
we're talking about is this programming piece which says I have been shaped into this version of me, into this reality. I have been shaped and I have options. Just because I've been shaped into this person through childhood trauma or childhood programming, I still
Yes.
have an opportunity where I get to ask these questions and switch from react, rationalize, and into respond,
Yes.
right?
Totally.
And it's not always perfect. There's definitely days where we do this wrong or we don't do it at all.
Trial and error. Trial and error. It's a
Yep.
process. Constant work.
Yeah.
Constant work.
And
Fail is feedback. Failing is feedback.
ooh, I like that. Failing is feedback. I was going to say practice is perfect or practice gets near perfect at least.
Yeah.
So,
But you learn every time you fail, man. As long as you're open to learning.
yeah, exactly. All
Okay.
right, everybody. Thank you so
Damn,
much
I'm
for
sorry.
joining us. That's okay. Don't apologize. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Sarah and Angelina. This is your morning show. When you watch this, make sure you leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. If this is interesting to you, if you like talking about anything and everything, let us know that in the comments. Ask us your questions, and we hope to see you all next time. Thank you guys. Have
Yeah.
a blessed day.
Have
We'll
a
see you
good
later.
one.
Have fun, Sarah.
Bye. I will. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.